Hello, Model Railroad Talk followers. Bandit here. In this episode, which we are actually going to be starting a new series just for you, the new people, the new to the hobby or thinking about getting into the hobby. In this episode, we are going to discuss where do you start? What's the best way to start? So many options out there. What do you do? So stick around and we will get the show on the tracks. And let's get the show started. So as we stated in our beginning, our intro, we are going to start this series specifically for those thinking about getting into model railroading or just even looking about getting into it, or maybe those that got their first train set and, you know, they went out and bought a kit, whether it was Kato, Bachman, several out there. What do you do? Where do you go? And this all stems from, we had a follower reach out to us, send us a message through our website. Dave L, thank you, by the way, for what do you do if you're thinking about getting into this hobby? And I can understand where that comes from, especially nowadays, because there's so much out there. There's so many options. Where do you start, right? Do you just go and buy a locomotive and cars and slap some track down like I got over here, or do you start slow? Obviously, it depends on you and what you're looking for in the hobby. Everybody has a different skill set. Everybody has a different vision for what they want their model railroad to be. So there's no one right answer. I do feel, though, that there are some steps that it doesn't matter what your end game is, whether you want to eventually have an around the walls big model railroad, or you just want to have something you set up on, say Friday night or whenever your weekend is, and run it around on the coffee table or on the floor or on a board, whatever. And then when the weekend's over, you put it away. There's still some basics that I feel that when you're coming into the hobby that you need to think about ahead of time, and while you're not just ahead of time, but also while you are in the purchasing process. So we are going to start basically with this episode of where do you start? Do you start by buying kits? Do you start by buying locomotives? Do you buy track? What do you do? So what we're going to do is this episode is going to be a lot on the computer, and I've got the computer set up behind you in front of me. And we are going to go through explore some options that one could do. Most commonly, people go and buy basically a train set, whether it be from like Hobby Lobby or online, from like Kato or something like that, where you get a locomotive, you get a few rail cars, you get the track, you get a power pack, so on and so forth. So that's where we're going to start, is basically, where do you start? All right. So as you can see here, we are on one screen. Now, mind you, I am not tech savvy enough to be able to take this screen, get it on the camera and all that good stuff. So basically, I'm just going to move you around. So this is just through Hobby Lobby. Just for the record, the sites I'm using, I am in no way, shape, or form getting any advertisement money or anything like that for using them. It's just, I guess, resources I use. But so we're going to start here with Hobby Lobby. This is their website. And actually, I was just at their store last weekend here in my local area, and this price is actually slightly higher, just so you're aware, than it was at the store. So, but to start out, you can go this route. This is not a bad kit. It is a kit that gives you a locomotive, gives you 3 cars and a caboose. It gives you, if you we can't really, let's see if it'll let me zoom in here. Of course not. Do it with the camera. I know you can't probably read it that well, but it gives you some accessories right here. Okay. And it does come with a power pack. So this kit right here is just a, oh, and it does give you track. And the other thing it does, which we'll dive into down the road, but it comes with, I think they're AccuRail knuckle couplers, or they're basically plastic knuckle couplers rather than the old horn hook, which is majority of model railroaders eventually go to in their modeling if you so choose to advance that. So as you can see here, this kit, the overall size of the kit, I mean, does it really matter? Not really. I mean, you have to realize they have all their track and the power pack stacked in the top side up here. But if we click here, this gives you a little more. It's got shows you got the knuckle couplers, you've got power pack accessories, like we said. But down here, if you look at the bottom here, I don't know how well you can see my mouse right here. At the bottom, you can see this is the track they send you. You can do these arrangements. These are just ideas that they give you to be able to do this track plan. Now, this is Bachmann track. In no way, shape, or form am I going to cut them down or, rally for them. It is what they call easy track. So basically your track is on top of a plastic roadbed, and then the roadbed, not only does the track have the little rail joiners on them, but the roadbed has little clips that allow the track to securely be snapped together. This kit, if you are looking to get into model railroading, the easiest way possible, look for a kit similar to this. I'm not saying this exact kit, if you're a diesel, guy. I mean, some kits come with a powered and two diesels, one powered, one dummy. Some come with more cars than what's here. Some actually come with more track turnouts for different track plans. So there are plenty of different options out there. And like I said, this is Hobby Lobby. Let's see. I don't see it on the website, but they did have for my local store, they actually had an N scale kit that it had a steam locomotive. By the way, this one is HO. It had like steam, kind of the same setup. It was a steam locomotive and cars more that era. So what we're going to do here is turn over to this screen, and bear with me here if I can get my tripod to work. And I understand the send angle. I didn't plan that part very well. So, let's do it this way. This would be much safer if we do it this way. I think. Sorry about let's see if we can straighten it up there for you. I'm new to this whole video production thing, so bear with me, folks. So what we have here, and on this page, this is actually Kato, okay? This is I don't want to cut down Bachmann. It is a little more high end of a good starter set, as you see here. And they do have good starter sets. It gives you everything you need. Now, this one, I clicked on the N scale here because we talk a lot about HO because that's what I model here. So I figured I'd give the N scalers, a little bit of love here. So they have several sets here. As an example, they have an Amtrak set right here. They have the Santa Fe Super Chief. This one they don't have video on. They have all sorts of different kits here for different things. Well, let's just click on this one. As you can see, this is, if you look, see if I can zoom in here. And it won't let me zoom in anymore. But right here, this starter kit, so I can do this without shaking the camera a whole bunch. If you look right here where my mouse is, it is actually, you get just an oval. that's it really. Well, I guess no, this does, I looking on the side here, you do get the power pack. There again, it is a DC standard power pack. It's a basic oval. You get one of these locomotives. This one happens to be, I think that we clicked on was the CP. Yeah. This one right here. They have different kits, but the price, you're going to pay a little more. Now, mind you, you are going to get better locomotives. You are going to get better rail cars because Kato is a better name. I don't want to say it's a better name. You get what you pay for in this hobby. Let's just put it that way. And but having said that, not just because it's more expensive doesn't mean that it's, worth it. So as an example here's a Chicago Northwestern. It comes with a basic oval track, a power pack, but it comes with a passenger train starter set. So if you're looking at starting a passenger train set, there you go. Kato's tracks, generally, this is what you get. If you look right here. Let's see. Well, there we go. That's much better. Let's blow it up that way. As you can see, you get all the sections to make an oval. Now, this is N scale here. You get your power right here, a piece of track that has your power lead that goes to the transformer. This section right here is what they're showing right here is basically a re-railer. It helps you, or railer, however you want to word it, helps you put the cars on the track. But if you have one pop off and it comes around, that will re-rail it back on the tracks. And a lot of people use them starting out for doing like a road grade crossing, so your cars can get to the inside, your automobiles, let's put it that way. And obviously you get your different sections of track here. So these kits range from, well, they're about $300. We'll just be honest, $290, for the Amtrak, and then they got the Super Chief set. That one, unfortunately, they don't have a picture, but it's $330, $285 for these freight ones. The mixed freight ones, you get 6 cars. You get 1 locomotive in whatever the kit's painted. Grade car, yeah, you get what you need to get this going. Now here's the thing, and I'm just going to switch to this. We're going to go back here and, where'd it go? I know it was right here. Well, it was right there. So we're going to go up here. Let's just do this track plan. There we go. As you can see here, they have a lot of resources on here. So you can go in and let's just click this one. If you look right here, there we go. This is a track plan that was created. This is actually on Kato's website. Obviously, you have to buy more track. So as you can see, there is the option for more track. You can buy turnouts. They make even grade crossings and stuff like that for, or grades, I should say, to where you can elevate. So instead of this being a T, if you see right here, you can actually elevate this and have it bring up, and then you can start going down, or vice versa, however, one would want to do that. So you have 2 different layers there. So as you can see by what we just showed you, if you are getting into the hobby and you are not 100% sure where to go, what you want to do, there are options for you out there. I suggest going to a hobby shop, going to, say, a place like Hobby Lobby, going on the internet, and just looking around. Start by looking at starter sets. While you can not necessarily go a starter route set, you can actually go out and buy the individual pieces, buy your locomotive that you like, your rail cars, your track, and so on and so forth, power pack. While that is generally, and I'm not saying you can't do it as a new beginner, if you sit down and if, say, you're a planner and you have everything planned exactly. I'm going to do a 4x8 or a 2x4, depending on your scale. I know I want N scale or HO scale or whatever. You know, you can, there's nothing wrong with that. Price wise, I don't know. I've never, I guess, really compared in my entire life of model railroading, you know, piecing it apart versus buying a kit. There's really no advantages or disadvantages to doing both, because if you buy a kit like I just showed you, you can expand on from them. You're not set to just that. You start out with a 2 foot by 4 foot N scale, like we showed you the last video or last pictures we were showing you of the N scale from Kato. You can start off that and using Kato N track, you know, on a 2 foot by 4 foot, which is generally what people start in N scale, and it's generally 4x8 in HO. And say you get that and you either move or you get allotted more space for your railroad and you want to add on, and you decide you want to do an around the room, or you want to just add another 2 foot by 4 foot section to your N scale layout. There's no reason why you can't add on. That's the nice thing about this hobby. It's not a one size fits all hobby either. You have a lot of options. My suggestion is, if you are coming into this hobby or you're thinking about coming into this hobby, start down and figure out, make a list. A good way to start would be, and it's like I told a good buddy of mine, Dave, who he drives truck. He listens to my podcast through iTunes, I think it is, that he listens to, and he watches my videos when he gets an opportunity. But he said, you know, he would love to get into this hobby. This was a couple weeks ago. He said, I went out and bought a 4x8 sheet of plywood and went to Hobby Lobby and bought a kit and so on and so forth. And he said, I just don't have the time. Maybe you're in that situation. If you know somebody that's got a model railroad, you don't have the time, or maybe right now you don't have the space, you're trying to figure out, but you want to get into this great hobby. While what I already started talking about would be for someone who knows they want to get into the hobby, they know what they want, they know they have the space allotted, whether it be for N scale or HO, and you can have small space with HO or bigger. You need to figure out what you have, the space, okay? So going back to my buddy Dave, he doesn't have the time. So like I told him, if you really want to get back into this, or you want to get into the hobby, you don't have the time. He has the space, but he doesn't have the time. Why don't you look into maybe what's your favorite locomotive? You know, is it a steam or diesel? If it's steam, what setup do you like? Do you like the old 040s or 020s, or, you know, that kind of thing? Are you diesel? Do you like the little Jeep, you know, say Jeep 30s, or do you like the SD 45s, or do you like the big AC 4400s, you know, and SD 60s and all them big ones you see going up and down the road today? And what railroad? You know, do you have a favorite railroad? And just because you have a favorite railroad doesn't mean you can't have, you know, you might have 2 or 3. Heck, on my railroad, I've got CSX paint jobs. I've got Canadian Pacific. I've got BNSF. I've got Santa Fe. But my railroad is a fictional railroad. And some of these locomotives, my railroad bought, and they're cash-strapped railroads, so they just re-letter. They're not repainting right now. So you will see other paint schemes. So that is one option for you guys that say, you know, you want to get into the hobby. And even if you do have the space and time for it, but you're not 100% sure what to build, what scale, you know what? You're not sure if N scale or HO scale. Tell you what, the best way to do it is go out and buy yourself an HO scale kit. And the only reason why I say HO is because that's where a lot of people start. Go out and buy yourself an inexpensive HO scale boxcar or flat car kit, okay? Or even N scale. If you think N scale is going to be the way you want to go, they make them in kits. Yeah, N scale, it's a little harder to find them because of the fact that most N scale is ready to run, but you can still get kits and build that kit. You can usually get into a kit $20 to $40 depending on the manufacturer of the kit and the detail that's in that kit. Build a kit. buy a short piece of track, set it on there, and look at it. That's going to be the best way to determine if you want to do HO scale or N scale, or even O, or they even have Z scale, which is smaller than N scale. Z scale is 1 and 220th. N scale is 1 to 1/60th scale. HO is 1 to 87 scale, and O is 1 to 64. Other scales, I don't know their exact without looking it up, but for you coming into this hobby or wanting to come into this hobby, please sit down. Honestly, probably the best place to start would be get yourself a magazine or a subscription. I recommend, because it is way less expensive to have a subscription to either like Model Railroader magazine or Railroad Model Craftsman, or I know there's several smaller publications out there that do model railroading magazines, but I highly recommend, and I tell everybody this when I talk to them face to face, get a subscription to Model Railroader magazine, or buy a few of them and then see if it's something, and just start flipping through there. That really is the best way to start. You're going to see, not necessarily in 1 or 2 issues, you're going to see the world of model railroading, everything you need to know, but it's going to give you a good taste, a good feel. You're going to be able to see what others do and help you go back to that planning process of, okay, I know someday down the road, I want an around the walls layout. Or no, I'm just going to stick to this, 4x8 or 2x4, whatever size you can, that you have for it. And that's what you're going to stick with. I'm going to super detail and have all the scenery, or you know what, I'm just going to do the bare minimum on scenery because I just like watching trains run. It doesn't matter. But you need to plan. I just hate to see people waste money. They go and they buy kits or starter sets and they run it around, and what happens? Next thing you know, it ends up in the box on a shelf, and then someday down the road you move or whatever, and so I hope this video helps those coming into this. This is just the start. I wanted, a lot of this was an broad overview, while we did show you some starter sets, a good way to start. Next episode, we're going to dive into, I say, making a list and writing down, getting something that you want, figure out what you want to do. We'll dive into that a little more with doing like a Givens and Druthers list, or pros and cons, whatever you want to call it. And we'll touch more on some of those other issues, like DC or DCC, what scale, what are advantages and disadvantages of the different scales. There's just so much to it, but on the flip side, it's not that difficult. It can be as complex or as simple as you want to make it. So my final thoughts for you coming in, you're thinking about coming into model railroading, is the best thing I would recommend is either go out and grab yourself an issue of Model Railroader, Railroad Model Craftsman, whatever. Go to your hobby shop. If they have trains, ask if they have a little display, look at it, and you can even start making your list. Like, you want steam, you want diesel, just start jotting stuff down. And come next episode, we will be talking about those lists, maybe some things that you didn't think of as a new person coming into the hobby that you should think about. So thank you for watching. Hopefully I wasn't too long-winded, but you know what? Hey, it's the hobby. I love talking about this hobby. I could sit here and talk all day like this. So but thank you for watching Model Railroad Talk. Check out our podcast. We're on Spotify, iTunes, all the major ones. We're right here on YouTube. We're also on TikTok. We do shorts on there, and we're on Facebook. If you want to reach out to us, modelrailroadtalk@gmail.com. Our website, www.modelrailroadtalk.com. And if you want to join the Model Railroad Revolution, become a premium supporter, please head on over to patreon.com/Model Railroad Talk, and join up there. You get some extra special video only Patreon supporting member videos and stuff like that. So If you have any questions, please reach out to us. We also do have a phone number, 563-293-6530. That's 563-293-6530. We don't answer. We let it go straight to the voicemail, or you can send us a text message to there too. Anything model railroad relating, please send it over through email or there. Our website, we have a way to reach out to us, like Dave L did, and sent us this, which started this series. So thank you for watching, and until the next episode, keep your train on the tracks.